Tonight on Country Squire Radio, it's a pipe smoking 101 on the difference between tin and loose leaf tobaccos. Plus, we've got a quickfire question related to bristles and whether or not you should use them on certain stems. With quickfire questions, listener feedback, and a lot of great stuff happening tonight, all on Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Beau.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Beau. Good evening, dude.
Man, good evening to you, sir. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good. It's it's been a crazy start to the year, to be honest with you. I just feel like December just beat the ever living crap out of both of us.
It's not done,
and it's just kind of lingering on into January. I mean, things are okay, but Jesus, just been kind of nuts.
I have this theory that this is not actually January, but actually it's December in disguise.
I can see that, except without the gifts, right?
Yeah, no holidays, but a lot of
but all the work involved.
Yeah,
and sickness and cold,
and the schools are still shut down. So there's
I know, right?
It's been crazy, man. I am wearing a vest. I'm wearing a winter vest right now.
It looks good on you.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's good.
But no,
this way your torso doesn't get cold, but your arms are frozen solid.
Well, that's what Ra's al Ghul told Batman in Batman Begins. He said, "Rub your chest, your arms will take care of themselves." Which I'm just now realizing sounds inappropriate, right?
Well, let's talk about something else.
Yeah, let's talk about that. All right. So man, we've got a lot of great stuff that's going on here in the pipe world. But before we actually talk about that, we want to give just kind of a shout out and just kind of our thoughts and prayers to someone who the live channel has heard us mention several times. But if you listen to the podcast, you probably haven't heard us mention his name very much, and that's our producer, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, obviously, we love Mike. The Country Squire Radio would not happen without Mike.
Absolutely. In fact, Mike came on board last year to help us make the show and do a lot of the post-production and cleanup work, and has done a fantastic job. He is currently in the hospital, and I won't go into all the details, but I just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with him. He just actually sent out a notification that he's supposed to be in the hospital until the 23rd. So he's in there for a couple of days.
Okay.
But he has assured me that he's got Wi-Fi, and so he'll still be helping us out.
What a trooper, man.
I'm telling you.
Like, we're sitting here like ready to, cover and figure out alternatives. And he's like, nah, if I don't do this, I'll get bored. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we're really, really thankful. But, man, please, if you are one that, lifts up prayers occasionally, please do for our producer, Mike.
Yeah, man. Mike Warder, we appreciate that, brother.
Yep.
All right. Also, we've got some good stuff that's coming up, man. We got the special episode on the horizon here with the pipe smoking archetypes. Now, this is kind of an extension of our pipe culture episodes that we do from time to time. And this is where we kind of explore various aspects of the culture surrounding the pipe. Now, the pipe smoking archetypes is where we take unique archetypes of people or images that you may think of, characters, be they history or fiction, that really kind of embody what pipe smoking is in a sense. And so the archetypes that we're going to be looking at here in the next coming weeks are the aristocrat and the farmer.
You said it right.
I said it right.
And because I acknowledged it, you're not going to say it right again the rest of the show.
It's all over.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
It's all over. But anyway, so if you've got some thoughts on those archetypes, be sure to send those in, show@countrysquireradio.com. We'd love to get those in from you. And it's kind of a great time for us to turn the mics around to you guys and really kind of let you guys dictate where the conversation is going to go. That's the fun thing about the pipe culture series.
We love the pipe culture series because we do, it reminds Beau and I that there's this greater world out there. Like, where do I fit into the kind of the pipe smoking community, right? And so we already get feedback about this kind of stuff, and people are passionate about kind of what brought them into the fold, where they kind of fit into the the greater universe of just of pipe smoking. And I don't know, we really appreciate just the really thoughtful responses that we get to kind of this stuff. So anyway, we're excited about that.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, we also have got some really exciting things to announce right now, and that is the winners of our custom cob auction.
That's right.
Man, okay, so if you've been tuning in for the last several weeks, and of course during the holidays as well, we did a custom cob competition in which on our Christmas special episode, we announced the winner who will be receiving the trophy. Just a quick update to said winner.
The trophy just needed a little reinforcing.
Yeah.
Buttressing.
It
fell
apart. we were getting it all packaged up for shipping, and it kind of it fell apart. I'm not going to say whose fault it was. Was it the person who
that made it really
that made it
poorly?
really poorly,
Right,
or
right.
is it the person that it broke in his hands,
Or the guy with palsy that can't, keep anything straight when he's holding it because he shakes so bad.
Yeah, one way or the other.
It was a combined effort of failure.
Yeah,
but
but we stepped it up.
But it's beautiful.
It's
now.
gorgeous.
It's sitting right over there.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to that going out to our lucky winner.
Kind of got a hover platform there that's right there. But anyway, of course, we do also have the pipes to auction off, which have been made in much better quality than the trophy, and so we'll be going out. We did this auction as kind of a way to fundraise for the Ronald McDonald House, and man, I am so proud of all of you that participated in the auction. We have been able to raise, Country Squire Radio listeners have been able to raise $330 that we'll be sending to the Ronald McDonald House.
That's really exciting.
Really, really exciting. Here's what you do. If you won the pipe, you'll need to send in the amount in which you was the winning bid to the Country Squire here, and we'll have that contact information for you. Just in check format's great, and yeah. You'll get your pipe in the mail once we get that check. And who will be winning these lucky pipes?
Yeah, the first, actually, one person won two of them. We had the winning pipe that actually won our competition. So it looked like a chimney, had a reindeer, some lights strung across the shank there. That was won by Peter Massey.
Hey!
And then the number two also that, and he won that for at $80. The second pipe was a beautiful hand painted pipe by Liz White. It's the manger scene, just incredibly detailed. It's probably the most detailed pipe of all of them. Just a stunning pipe. And Peter Massey also won that one as well for $50. Ed Roden won one of the most elaborate pipes that we had. Which is the night before Christmas pipe.
I know the pipe before Christmas.
The pipe before Christmas, and gosh, what a
it's the box and everything.
I know the poem and the box and just all of it. He won
full
that.
Disclosure, I wanted to bid on that one.
I know, dude. I know. It was really wonderful to have all these submissions, but he won it for $50. The custom cob that had the face of Santa Claus with the removable cap was won by Randy Varju. Is that Varge? Varge. I'm assuming that's Varge. But he won it for $50.
The pipe pirate.
That's right. And then, man, someone that wanted this pipe very badly. The last one, our abominable snowman pipe by that came in. It's a painted small cob pipe. And the winning bid, $100, went to Terry Pickard.
Right.
Terry wanted that pipe really, really bad.
Good
so
man.
Anyway, it was really exciting. But y'all, thanks for participating in this. Both if you designed and created one of these custom cobs. We know we appreciate it. The folks at Missouri Meerschaum appreciate it. And of course, all this goes for a great cause. But then also the folks that were willing to bid and take a few of these pipes home. We were just really thrilled about that. So. Anyway, get with us. If you'll just send those payments, if you'll email us, show@countrysquireradio.com, or you can call me at the shop. We can talk about how to get that all rolling. But we're thrilled, and thanks so much.
Absolutely. All right, man. So we got a great show tonight. We're looking forward to. We are doing a pipe smoking show for pipe smokers, both young and old, both the longtime smokers, the expertise minded, the experts in the field. But we're also not just doing it for those that have been in it for a while, man.
Been around for a while, right?
We're doing it for the noobs as well. We're doing it for people who have just picked up the pipe, but they're still kind of exploring it. We still get those emails. We still see those iTunes reviews of people who are very new to smoking a pipe. And one of the first things they do is they go on and they search for podcasts, and of course they find Country Squire Radio in an effort to kind of learn this new hobby and the culture that's around it, and the basic practices. And what is it that you like to say? There's no dumb questions. There's only dumb me.
There's no stupid questions, just stupid people.
Exactly.
Right.
And these are not stupid.
But mostly
people.
that just applies to Beau.
That's exactly
and me as well. But I mean, these are these shows that we do about for newer pipe smokers that just kind of getting their sea legs underneath them. Right. There's a lot of going on in the pipe industry, and so we want to give them some knowledge that kind of helps them move forward and maybe connect them with some better resources.
So the topic, this is a pipe smoking 101 that we're doing tonight, and the topic tonight is about the difference between tin tobacco and loose leaf tobacco, which is again for longtime pipe smokers, you think, well, I mean, it seems like it's obvious. Well, maybe it's not.
That's it. That's it. And a lot of folks come in, the newer smokers, we see it all the time, right? So they come in the shop. Typically, if I find that they're a newer smoker, I'll kind of encourage them to gravitate over to the tobacco bar where they see all these jars of tobacco lined up. They can open them up, smell them, feel the texture, the moisture, kind of get an idea of what some of them, might smell or taste like. But then once they kind of get their feet wet a little bit, they recognize that these tins are on the other side of the shop,
Yeah.
right? These beautiful tins. They're more expensive, but they're pretty. The artwork's attractive and all that. And so these new smokers start to wonder. There's these tins. They're really shiny and they make me want them all.
Right, but
Uh,
but they are
and
intimidating at
and
first.
they're a little intimidating, that they have these beautiful logos and
Yeah,
but they're expensive, and because you
yeah,
can't smell them, you don't know exactly what you're getting. And
yeah.
if you're a new pipe smoker and you read all these big words on the back of a tin, you may not know what those mean.
You can't even read
Um,
some of those words.
and we're in Mississippi, so the reading is a luxury anyway.
Yeah.
But the bulk tobacco behind us,
These are small words. You can tell whoever came up with these names, very small
very small,
vocabulary.
right? No, that's
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Challenged, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Built for you
right.
from him.
No, right. I do the best with my abilities, right? No, so the bulk tobaccos, they in juxtaposed to the tins, you've got these jars. You can see the leaf itself, see what it looks like. It's real sensory. You can smell it. We used to say you could sample it, but now we have our 2-bit hit.
2-bit hit.
Thanks to our friends at the federal government. So it's just stuff like that is the difference. So what is there? What's the difference there? That's kind of what we're talking about. What's the difference? And frankly, which one's better for you?
And I mean, is the best bet to go kind of loose leaf then tin, or do you want to do kind of a point for point?
Well, it's funny. I always point people in different directions depending on what kind of tobacco they like.
Yeah.
And so for the newer smoker, the sensory element of the bulk tobacco is so helpful.
Yes.
Because
yes.
you get to see the different leaves. Like, let me show you the difference between a cube cut and a ribbon cut, or a shag cut, or a flake. You can smell the different tobaccos to give them kind of an idea of, this is what an aromatic might smell like, a non-aromatic, an English blend. Oh, you want to smell straight Latakia or Perique? Well, let you do that kind of thing. It just makes more sense that way. So you do kind of have to consider, a few things when you're selecting between the tobaccos in cans or the tobaccos in jars. One thing to keep in mind is that some of the most popular tobaccos in the world are sold both in bulk and in tin. Okay, so some
Right.
some of the most popular tobaccos, literally of all time, very incredibly venerated tobaccos that have been around for decades. These are tobaccos that are sold in both formats. Right here, we've got Mac Scottish blend. Probably top 10 tobacco for me. Just such a great tobacco. But this is a tobacco that you can buy both in bulk, like you can here at the Country Squire, or in a tin. Mac tins this, and you have to buy a big can of it. I think it's 3.5 grams or 3.5 ounces. But that's something you can do either way.
And for most of these, you can find them almost anywhere, right?
That's right. That's right. For a lot of them, depending on, and we'll talk about this more, but depending on, if you're dealing with a shop that deals in a lot of pipe tobacco, that's the thing, and this is kind of the caveat, right? So, in general, the Mac Scottish mixture, it's the exact same tobacco that you would get bulk or in the tin. There's literally no difference. The quality's no
Right.
different. The recipe's not different. It came from the exact same factory, the exact same batches. All things being equal, in that situation where you can get it in the tin or bulk, you want to buy it in bulk because it's just going to be cheaper. These shiny packages that make people want to collect all the tins, in most cases, you're paying for the packaging,
For the packaging.
right? And we love it. I've had people come in the shop and they've admitted to me, to my face, they're like, "Well, excuse me, forgive me, but they said, I'm just a tin whore. I have to have the tin because I want the artwork and I want to be able to post it on my Instagram and,
Well,
on and on. But, the tins are beautiful. They can be functional, if they're a nice storage way, you can tote them
exactly,
with
the
you.
cellaring
They're
aspect of
more
the tins.
durable than,
Yeah.
than the baggies than we put out. So, but anyway, if, the most popular tobaccos in the world, some of them do come in both bulk and tin. And all things being equal, if you're buying it from a reputable shop, it's the same tobacco, but if it's a reputable pipe shop or a shop that deals in a lot of pipe tobacco, in other words, if you can tell that tobacco is turning really regularly and they're caring for the tobacco
Right,
and they're
right,
professionals in pipe tobacco, then bulk is the way to go for those tobaccos, like a Scottish blend or Mac Baren Virginia #1. We've got Lane 1Q. That's another one that comes in actually both tin and bulk now. And those tobaccos, if it's cared for properly, are going to be much more economical, if you buy it in bulk.
All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a relatively common practice for some pipe shops to actually take these bulk tobaccos and put a
And
unique
put and
name
put
on it.
their name on them,
Okay, even
right?
their own name. Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
that's right.
And
So,
this is frowned upon, or this is
well, it generally from the snob perspective it
right,
is,
right, right, right.
and at the Country Squire we the new blends we put out, those are homegrown blends. You
Right,
know
right,
what I mean?
right,
I mean
right.
what we sell, these we always say these two shelves right here. These are all hand blended tobaccos whose recipes are originated at the Country Squire. So if it's something that comes out of a bag and goes into a jar, it goes on the top shelf,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which so that way if folks are buying Lane 1Q, they know they're buying Lane
Well,
1Q.
yeah,
You know
and
what
I
I
mean
mean?
that's the
Yeah.
thing, right? Like
Yep.
Lane 1Q, and this is obviously no disrespect to an ages old blend, but
Yeah.
that
Very.
name is very like
Yeah.
industrial.
No, that's
You know
right.
what I mean?
That's
And
right.
so I mean,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I get the
What's your
desire to
serial number?
change the
Well,
name.
serial number is 1Q. Well, put it on the jar. Right.
Exactly. So I mean, I do get the desire for a lot of these shops to
Absolutely.
change the name from that
Yeah.
standpoint. But
Absolutely.
on the other hand, like if you go in and you see, a giant Lane 1Q like slapped on the bucket,
Right.
everything
Well, at
else
least
that doesn't have that is legit.
that's the idea. Yeah, that's the idea. So, but yeah, some shops do that. And again, that just that's another thing. Y- you know, what's your preference in some of these tobaccos, right? So, are you a non-aromatic smoker or are you an aromatic smoker? For our aromatic smokers, most bulk tobaccos are going to be aromatic.
Mm.
Certainly the bulk tobaccos that you would find in your brick and mortar pipe shop are going to be aromatic. Most non-aromatics are going to be, in tin tobaccos. Now, obviously, they're aromatic tins and they're non-aromatic bulks. We sell them, we blend them, and we're very proud of our non-aromatic bulks. But for bulk tobacco, in the on the shelf variety, the moisture content in a bulk tobacco tends to be higher. And so, a lot of aromatic smokers, they like a tobacco that tends to be a little moisture, something that carries more of those natural syrups and juices and things like that. That's very desired for a lot of aromatic smokers, and so you'll find that more in your bulk tobacco. And if you like a tobacco that is that, we come in and folks will literally say, hey, I want a tobacco that's really sweet and really wet. Because
Hmm,
for
hmm.
whatever reason they've just kind of learned to smoke a tobacco like that. Then a bulk tobacco is going to be your best bet. That
Yeah.
even aromatic tin tobaccos are going to be much more on the drier side.
Even if it's the exact same tobacco.
Even if it's
Yeah.
yeah, even if it's the exact same. But yeah, that always the moisture content is always higher in a bulk tobacco. Also, if you're an aromatic smoker, aging doesn't really affect an aromatic tobacco the way it does a non-aromatic. So if you like a sweeter tobacco, aging is not going to do have the dramatic positive effect on aromatic tobacco
Really?
as it will on non-aros. Yeah,
I would have expected the other way around. That's interesting.
yeah, see the casing, the topping, and the syrups that we use on aromatic tobaccos, they kind of arrest the ability for the tobacco
Oh.
to have any kind of chemical reaction. So
Huh.
so
Yeah.
you're almost preserving it in its perfect state. It's basically mummified in that delicious sweetness, right? And so
Uh-huh.
so the tobacco, once you put it up at that, it's just not going to really change a lot. Um, and so because of that, the bulk way is just so much more economical. The moisture content tends to be higher. The variety is much better in a bulk tobacco, and so a lot of that. Just one thing to keep in mind on the tin tobacco side, most tins are going to be non-aromatic, and so you've got these, kind of just non-aromatic venerated tobaccos that are loved for decades and decades. You're dealing with tobaccos that just have just been around forever. And so that's just to give you an idea. If you had to pick one or the other, if you're an aromatic smoker, you're probably going to find quite a bit more variety in the bulk blends. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So another thing to consider is freshness too. So if you like, if you're at a tobacco shop that does a lot of tobacco, but not, or a lot of other types of tobacco, cigars, certainly cigarettes or anything like that, and they do happen to have some bulk tobacco blends. Honestly, you probably want to steer towards their tin section, because tobaccos in that kind of environment really probably aren't, unless you go into a shop and you realize, hey, that's a pipe shop. They sell a lot of pipe related stuff.
Right.
They typically probably are not turning their bulk tobacco very often.
Yeah, you said turning a couple of times. I
Well,
mean, do you
yeah,
literally
and what I mean
mean?
by that is, yeah, what I mean by that is selling it. The selling it and restocking it.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
great question. I'm glad to clarify that. Yeah, so when I say turning or moving, that's a that th- in a cigar shop that carries a few different bulk tobacco blends. There's a really good chance that tobacco's been sitting on the shelf
It
for
might
a
have been there for a
long
minute.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, you've got Lane 1Q and HGL and probably a few others that are popular, BCA, and they might have sat there for 4 or 5 months, in between each person buying it. The tobacco may have sat there for a couple of years, So if it's a shop that just doesn't do a whole lot of pipe related stuff, you want to veer towards the tins just simply out of freshness sake. But if it's a true tobacconist, if it's a pipe shop, if it's a shop that does just a whole lot of pipe related business. They're moving the tobacco, they're turning it, they're selling it, restocking it. Things are fresh. Bulk is certainly the way to go if you can find something in bulk that you like. And so that's a good way to go. So which one's better? Like which one is better for you? Better for for Joe pipe smoker who has this or that kind of
In
preference.
that specific situation where it's literally the same tobacco, just different.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's a case by case basis, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it really is. So, let me be honest before I tell you, the the different options out there as a retailer, right? So, again, we like to come at it from.
Wonder what your preference is gonna be.
Exactly. Well, right. Yeah. Bo's sitting here grinning at me, like pointing at our house blends, right? So,
Notice all
so
the tins behind us.
I know, right?
Oh wait, no, these aren't
That
tins.
exactly. So, just to, let the guard down, wolf in sheep's clothing, like as a retailer who hand blends tobacco, obviously, we have an incentive to sell our own blends.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they're always the best option. To
Mm.
be honest, one thing we've always prided ourselves on is, just being a good resource, even if it's recommending another product or whatever. And frankly, for a lot of tobacco enthusiasts, the stuff behind us might not be the best option. It might be on the other side of the room,
No county can taste.
which is great,
Yeah.
and so, so for aromatic pipe smokers, by far and away, if you had to pick one or the other, if you do like a sweeter blend, bulk options tend to be a better choice. Your moisture level is going to be better.
Mm.
You're going to have a higher variety of tobaccos to pick from. The price is so much cheaper; it's incredible. A 2 ounce bag, for instance, of tobacco at the Country Squire starts at $7.75, where your favorite tin of tobacco might start at $12 or $13. Depending on the type, and so on the so for the aromatic smoker, the bulk tobacco is much more attractive. You're also, for the aromatic smoker, you're able to customize bulk blends. in ways that you can't do the tins, right? So you can talk if it's an old fashioned tobacconist like the Country Squire, you can go to the guy, the long haired hippie guy behind the counter and say, "Hey, I like that tobacco you got there, but can you throw a dash of this in it? Or can you
Right,
throw
right.
a dash, or can you make it a little more like this?" And of course, from our standpoint, we love to do that. That's kind of where that's where we really
It's
shine.
experimentation
Is
happening right
is all
there.
it's just like baking, man. We get to customize something especially for you. And so anyway, for the aromatic smoker, I think there's more advantages in bulk tobaccos. For non-aromatic smokers, bulk and tin are close, but tin tobaccos definitely get the nod. So for non-aromatic smokers, you've got, these are people that like English blends, Virginia Periques, Virginia Flake, things like that. There are some great bulk tobaccos in that realm, but the tin tobaccos get the nod for your non-aromatic smokers.
For in terms of like if I was going to, you know, like John David, point me in the right direction. I want to smoke English. You're saying tin tobacco is the right to go. What tins do you kind of like, recommend to that newer
Yeah,
pipe
kind of as
smoker
a first stop, yeah.
for English? Yeah.
Well, yeah, like an English blend, for instance. Of course, we talk, just incessantly about one of our favorites, which is Frogmorton. Dunhill 965 is excellent, or Nightcap.
Are all the Frogmortons English?
They are, but they are interesting in that they, have this element of unflavored black
Uh
Cavendish.
huh.
And then for someone that does like
It's
a
unflavored. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then for someone that does like the, something sweeter, you have the addition of the whiskey that's in the Frogmorton cellar, which gives you just a little bit of that. For an aromatic smoker wanting to try an English blend, it's kind of a nice gap blend,
Yeah.
that can get there. But, so anyway, but for non-aromatic smokers, tins kinda get the nod, right? I mean, unless you can find unless you can find a tobacconist that carries, Scottish mixture, for instance, it's most people consider it a non-aromatic. It comes in bulk and it comes in a tin. If it's that kind of situation, well, the bulk is better. But a lot of these tin tobaccos, they only come in the tin. And so they, typically for non-aromatic tobaccos, the tins are really great for aging. You can leave them in there if they've been sitting at a shop that doesn't do a lot of pipe tobacco. You may be buying a tin that has been sitting there for years, and so in some sense, they kind of done the aging for you.
Right.
You're buying an aged tin of tobacco, which is kind of neat. The beauty of tins also with non-aromatic smokers is that the companies that blend tinned tobacco tend to get highly specialized ingredients that aren't available to all brick and mortar blenders. Okay. So at the Squire, we have a pretty good, relationship with most of the vendors in America. And so we can get a lot of specialized leaves. But there's still some leaves that we can't get. And some of the leaves we get, we can only get just because we've been here forever. There's
Mm,
other shops that wouldn't be able to have that. And so, that's why on average, for the non-aromatic smoker, a big company like Mac or Orlick, or Cornell and Deal. These are folks that have access to very particular leaves, that are so small batch, but they're very peculiar, interesting. Give the opportunity for a blend to really, yeah, to really have a distinct flavor. And that a lot of those, very particular small batch kind of craft, leaves that are out there, a lot of small time blenders like us here at the Squire, we don't have access to those.
yeah.
And so, that's why, for instance, that old dark fired that we love so much from Mac the HH old dark fired. I mean, that tobacco's got, leaf in it that's been sitting in a barn for 40 years. You know what I mean?
Dang.
Like that's almost as old as the Country Squire is. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where a lot of the tinned guys, are gonna gravitate more towards the non-aromatic guys are gonna gravitate more towards the tins because there's more options there for people who like a more nuanced blend, something that has small batch ingredients that are really interesting or weird or hard to get your hands on. So there's a lot of that there. Also, the tin tobaccos, and look, we sell non-aromatic tobaccos in our bulk. We love the ones we have. We're proud of the ones we have. Things like Baker Street and Bowser's Castle and Bag End. We work really hard on these non-aromatics, but the ingredients and some of the tin tobaccos. I mean, you're smoking the same tobacco. 965, for instance, if you're a William Faulkner fan, you can channel him while you're smoking that, because guess what? That was his blend.
That's yeah.
Three Nuns, if you're a C.S. Lewis fan. I mean, these are, tobaccos that have been around, just storied tobaccos that have been around for decades.
Mm.
Orlick, Escudo, that are just incredibly historical, and so there's that kind of tie to that is fun with the tin tobaccos as well.
Who famous smoked Orlick?
Uh, John David Cole.
John
No, no.
David.
I don't know. I actually don't know any. I don't know any famous Orlick smokers, but it's been around for so long, and it's just one of those blends that, if you're a pipe smoker, you've tried it before.
I do like that
It's
golden
it's
slice.
it's like a Scudo. It's
Yeah.
like the I mean, gosh, I mean, think of all the Mac Baren Navy Flake, or nowadays there's newer standards that we see, some of the Seattle Pipe Club stuff, some of the stuff that Cornell and Deal is putting out, GLPs. I mean, these are tobaccos that, if you're a serious pipe smoker, you've tried them at some point,
Yeah.
and so I just think there are more options there in the tinned section. So you'll get that variety. Now, the exception to this is at a real pipe shop, right? And so that's always kind of the exception, right? So all things being equal, we generally point aromatic smokers to bulk tobaccos, and non-aromatic smokers can do both bulk and non-bulk. But the tins kind of get the nod on there. If you do it, that is true at a real pipe shop that's turning a lot of bulk tobacco. It's just good to think, and good to remember, if your tobacconist, is if it's a cigar dealer, if it's a tobacco shop that doesn't do a lot of pipe related things, you're probably going to want to stick to their prepackaged tobaccos. So you're probably going to want to stick to their tins, if any packages. Think of our hamster scale pack tobaccos, like the Captain Black, and those are going to be fresher in a shop like that than their bulk tobacco. So if it's a shop that doesn't do a lot of pipe business,
Mm.
I would encourage you to gravitate towards their tin section. If it's a shop that does both, that does a lot of pipe business, that's kind of known for their pipe stuff, certainly I think their bulk tobaccos would be fresh, would be, worth experimenting with, and the guy behind the counter can really help you with a lot of that. So, that goes for anywhere, any shop that's worth their salt, on that front.
That's good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the loose leaf in terms of various tobacco shops that are out there. Depending on where they are in the country, they're going to have different availability in terms of what kind of loose leaf tobacco they have.
Yeah.
If
No, that's right.
yes, they've got the bulk, which is available, but a lot of kind of the custom blending can only happen in certain states.
That's right. Only certain areas,
Yeah.
and there's only so much of a market for it. I mean, people come in and they're still stunned, to walk into a dusty old smoke shop like the Squire, and realize, though, that the people behind the counter are doing this kind of stuff.
Right, right,
I
right.
was talking with our friend Eric Karlowski up at Indian River Tobacco Traders, there in Michigan, and it's rare, for people like him and me, uh, Ross, Tyken down in Houston. We're people that blend leaves to pay our bills. That's what we
Mm.
do, on a very small batch, retail level. And it's just not very common anymore. And so you'll get the sense, talking to the guy behind the counter, if that's something that they're actually doing, or if they're just taking things, repackaging them, and putting them out because maybe they're not as interested in bulk to or in pipe tobacco. But it's a fun thing to consider. There's so many great tobaccos, both in bulk and in tin. But on average, our aromatic smokers are going to gravitate more towards the bulk tobaccos, with some exceptions. We've got, of course, some great tinned aromatic tobaccos, but on average, they're going to gravitate in that direction. And the non-aromatic smokers will tend to graduate, or gravitate towards the tins. If you if you again on average with exceptions.
Right,
So
right.
yeah. So
Graduate to the 10th.
Right. Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's just kind of the 30,000 foot view of it. We have folks come in all the time. They'll see both sides and they'll be like, "Man, what's the difference? Like, why would I buy one over the other? Other than just price." And so anyway, it's a good thing to kick around.
Yeah, absolutely. It is interesting because as we do the show, we are flanked. Is it flanked when it's front and back, or is that just when it's side to side?
I don't know, but we are flanked and surrounded
We
and immersed in wonderful tobacco.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. So, like, behind us, for those who ever tuned in for a live show, then you know this, but behind us are these amazing blends that most of which you've blended yourself that are available here at the Country Squire. And then behind the camera, which the viewer never actually sees, is rows of tin tobaccos. And so it's always interesting because as you're talking, I get a chance to kind of look ahead of us. I'm like, oh man, yeah, I got that. I got that. I got that. Like there is kind of that collection mentality that goes along with the tin tobacco, and I always get a little nervous with the loose because with the loose, it's like, look, if I'm buying the loose, it's because I'm going to smoke it. Whereas if I'm
Right.
buying tin,
Have the option
I got the
of
option.
of putting it back.
Exactly.
Right.
So the beautiful thing is, you can get a bunch if you're starting out. Get a couple of tins, get a couple of loose leaf. Check with your local tobacconist to find what's right for you. But most importantly, as you are sampling a lot of these different tobaccos, you're going to want to make sure that you are making sure that you get all the various flavors available.
No, that's right.
Some of the things that John David has talked about tonight in terms of, a wetter tobacco versus a drier tobacco versus something that has been aged, all of these little nuances that you can get in the flavoring, you can only really get if you get a good, cool, clean smoke. And you can get that from the pipes available at Missouri Meerschaum.
That's right. That's right. We always recommend trying new tobaccos in a Missouri Meerschaum corncob pipe, especially because you're getting a great pipe for the price. The value is just extraordinary. And with a lot of newer pipes, these distinct flavors, they can ghost pipes. They can carry into other pipes. You might have your prized $400 pipe that you're like, well, I don't know if I should put this tobacco in it because it might make my perfectly seasoned pipe all of a sudden taste like a fruit smoothie. And with the Missouri Meerschaum, you just don't really have to worry about that. It's not a big concern. Missouri Meerschaum pipes, obviously, they are incredibly, durable. The value is great, and they come in a lot of different styles. If you are looking to, sample tobaccos, we've been regularly recommending the Shortstop recently.
Yes.
The Shortstop, it's a wonderful pipe. They took the bowl from the Missouri Meerschaum Mini. And gave it a little longer, longer stem.
Made it into a real pie.
Made it into a real pie. I know, right? Yeah, yeah.
With no disrespect to the Mini.
No, we love the Mini,
Love the Mini.
and it's great. But yeah, it's
It's a better keychain than it is a pipe.
no, I mean for some people, it's just more of a novelty, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
we love the Mini, but yeah, it's that Shortstop is great because it just takes that stem and makes it long enough to cool the smoke down. It comes in a really nice black or amber stem there connected to the wooden shank, and the bowl is just big enough to fill up a little pinch of tobacco, just to sample, just to see just to see what you think about it. So anyway, great pipes from our friends at Missouri Meerschaum. We appreciate them so much for sponsoring the show, sponsoring our custom cob competition, and we hope that you support them and thank them for supporting us.
All right, man. Pipe question of the week this week comes in from listener Jim Nelson. All right, now this is great. Jim sends a lot of there's a lot of context for this question.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Great.
right, you ready for this?
Yeah. We like context.
Oh, context is king. All right. He says, I got started smoking a pipe in the early 1980s in Kansas City while being a scholar. He says, guess what kind of archetype I fit into? He said, I had two pipe shops. I could walk to the tinderbox across the street at the mall. On occasion, I would fight the traffic to go into DeBiles?
Deebles.
To Deebles in Uptown, where a pipe maker worked on occasion. Would come out to the corner counter and answer questions. The proprietor of the tinderbox told me not to use Bristle pipe cleaners because the pipes in my collection had vulcanite stems. He said that the bristles eventually scratched the vulcanite, and the tar and the accompanying bitterness would collect in the stem and be very difficult to remove. When I got my first nice pipe, a handcrafted beauty from Diablos,
Diebels.
Diablos,
Di-
di- di- di- Dibelles.
I before E, right?
He says, with an acrylic stem, I asked the pipe maker about the bristle pipe cleaner. He didn't disagree with the other guy's advice, but said the acrylic is quite a bit tougher than vulcanite, and therefore bristle cleaners would be fine on a new pipe. Most recently, I see recommendations to use bristle cleaners with alcohol to deep clean all the hard to reach places, including running them through the stem. Since this advice is on the internet, I'm pretty sure it has to be true. But just in case, I thought I'd ask you. By the way, we're on the internet too. Just want to.
I mean, we're the exception to the rule because we're always
Yeah,
true
yeah.
here,
Don't
here at
trust
Country Squire
anything up
Radio.
on the internet except for this.
Except
show.
for us,
Yeah.
but we don't have a stake in that at all.
All right, so here's the question. He says, "So, all wise John David, can bristle cleaners actually scratch the inside of vulcanite stems, or is that just an old pipe maker's tale?"
No, I think it's actually great. You know, vulcanite, ebonite stems. These are stems that are made of a hard rubber, and it is even though it's a harder rubber, this is a malleable substance. I mean, that's why you find these old pipes that the stems are oxidized and they've got all these teeth marks on them, and maybe they're chewed up a little bit or have some kind of deformity just because too much heat. I mean, can make the stem deform, things like that. These old ebonite stems. It's why it's so important to clean your pipe. I sound like a dentist. Like you got to clean your teeth every day. Well,
There's something to that.
whenever you smoke your pipe, you really need to clean it because I mean, to be really honest, if you're scrubbing your pipe with a pipe cleaner after each smoke, you'll probably never need a bristled pipe cleaner ever.
Wow.
Like I mean, if you use a pipe cleaner, just a regular pipe cleaner after every smoke of your pipe,
Yeah.
you'll probably never need a bristled pipe cleaner.
I mean,
Probably never.
It is kind of like this, right? You brush your teeth every day, you probably won't need a root canal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, same thing. And
Okay.
and so that's the idea. But if you do again have these the use for a bristled cleaner, you do run the risk of it scratching the inside of the ebonite stem. Now, can that hurt it and then maybe in some way help the tobacco juice and the saliva and all that stuff kind of get stuck in there and give it a sour taste and all that? That's possible. Absolutely possible. So, bristle pipe cleaners, totally fine on acrylic and lucite mouthpieces. Use at will as much as you'd like if you do need them. On a on an ebonite stem, I encourage people generally to use them as sparingly as possible because of this reason. And so, you do run the risk of scratching the inside of the tobacco or of the stem. It can give more opportunity for moisture to get into those little, that old ebonite, particularly as it gets more brittle and things like that. And so, you want to use your bristle pipe cleaners kind of sparingly if you can. At least certainly on a vulcanite or ebonite stem. But a lot of this, if it does start to distaste, get a bad taste or sour, a lot of this again can be fixed by, deep cleaning. We talked about, running your pipe cleaner through there, maybe with some alcohol on it or something like that, just to get some of those old bitterness, tastes out that he talks about. So, anyway, sparingly on an ebonite stem, vulcanite stem, you want to use bristle pipe cleaners. It's okay occasionally, but you don't want to use them for every cleaning. It's kind of interesting. He talks about starting smoking in Kansas City and going to Tinderbox or going into town to go to Diebels. Diebels is actually we talked at length last week about McClellan Tobacco Company and Mike McNeil, who has been in the tobacco industry for decades and decades, and that's actually where he got his start.
Really?
Was at Diebels? Yeah, that shop has been around for a long, long, long time.
Oh, I'm sorry, I called it Diablo.
And yeah, well, I mean, if you didn't like it, maybe it would be.
No, I've never
Diablo.
met it.
But I've never met it either. But and actually, to be honest with you, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, Diebels may not be open anymore. I need to find that out. But it is an old shop that's been around for a long time, and it either I I should, to be real honest with you, I should know if it's open or not. I'd love for someone to let us know. But anyway, but that's one of those old fashioned tobacco shops that you hear people talk about if they lived in that part of the country, or maybe stopped through there. That a lot of pipe enthusiasts always went to Diebels, and of course, our friend Mike McNeil got his start there as well. So
That's
kind of
fascinating.
cool, kind of cool.
I wonder if at some point it might be worth exploring, like doing episodes spotlighting, pipe shops that have kind of this lore and legacy behind them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
Have to figure out what that might look
Yeah,
like.
that's we ought to, because a lot of, I mean, you talk about, not just the obvious candidates like Ewan Reese or LJ Peretti, but I mean there's pipe shops that have a real kind of regional niche following that have been around for almost 100 years.
That could be cool.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, hey, great question. Thank you so much for this pipe question of the week from Jim Nelson. By the way, if you've got a pipe question of the week, send it in to us, show@countrysquireradio.com. Again, that is show@countrysquireradio.com. All right, man. Quick fire questions.
Ow!
All right. Quick fire questions brought to us this week by the Tin Society.
That's right.
TinSociety.com is a place to go for an amazing online service that you're going to love, and you will hear more about in just a minute. All right. These are actually sent in from Barry Pettis. And I feel
Oh, I love Barry.
Yeah, I
That's
said,
great.
said the last name correctly.
You did.
I did.
You did.
I felt very proud of myself.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Are you ready for this?
All right. Quick fire from Barry.
All right. Lost or Gilligan's Island?
Lost.
So I didn't watch.
Is there really a discussion here?
I didn't watch Lost.
What?
Hey.
Okay.
Yep.
This is coming from the guy who always constantly is having to apologize for never having seen any movie you reference ever.
Yep. Yeah,
but you didn't watch Lost?
It's a bizarro Country Squire Radio quickfire questions here.
Wow.
I never did. I watched like maybe 2 episodes and I just couldn't get into it. And I got the sense that it wasn't going anywhere. And then at the end of it, I found out
that it didn't.
It didn't. So my thought was, if I'm proved like
the destination was not the point, it was the journey, Beau.
Yeah. So my thought process was that if it was amazing once the series was completed, I would binge watch the entire thing. And I saw the mixed reviews, and I didn't. And so that's why I'm going to go with Gilligan's Island.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which I haven't seen all of Gilligan's Island either, but that's a classic. All right, Modern Family or Brady Bunch? I'm sensing a theme here.
Brady Bunch? I don't believe I've ever seen an episode of Modern Family.
So I've seen bits of Modern Family. I mean, this is part of the problem with modern television. Anyway, part of the problem is that like you get like clips on YouTube. So like YouTube will recommend something for you, and then you see like 5 minutes of an episode.
Right.
And sometimes it plays the next bit and sometimes it doesn't. So like the extent of my watching Modern Family has been occasionally on YouTube. Some bits will show up. Brady Bunch. All right. Trace Adkins or Johnny Cash?
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, Johnny Cash all the way. Who's Trace Adkins? What songs?
I don't know. But I'm not going to pick against Johnny Cash.
No, why would you? He's the man in black.
Do you know every year in Starkville, Mississippi, they have a festival?
It's about cows, isn't it?
It is not.
And cheese?
It's called and cheese, right? And anything agricultural related. It is called the Johnny Cash Flower Picking Festival.
Oh.
And they do this every single year.
Yeah.
Because Johnny Cash wrote a song it called the Starkville City Jail. And that he went to play a concert at Mississippi State University, which is in Starkville. That's where I went to school.
It's like going to jail.
And right. Thanks, Beau. And not as bad as Mississippi College. But anyway,
that is true.
But
that is very true.
They had so when Johnny Cash went to play a concert at Mississippi State, he got he may have had one too many bud heavies that night, something like that. But he got arrested. He was caught. Let's just say relieving himself in someone's flower bed.
Wow.
In Starkville.
Wow.
And so they arrested him,
like you do,
and sent him to jail.
Man.
There, and so he has a song, Starkville City Jail, and he, and so several years ago they started this Johnny Cash festival, and to open the festival, they pardoned Johnny Cash.
Oh wow.
For
how famous do you have to be to get arrested by relieving yourself on someone's yard and then them throw a festival about
I
it.
know, right?
That's crazy.
He said when they arrested him that he wasn't doing that. He was just picking flowers.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, that's where
I'm
that came
Johnny
from.
Cash.
So anyway, regardless, I'm going with Johnny Cash.
All right. Finally, Maroon 5 or Led Zeppelin?
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that's not even a competition.
This is silly.
You got to get the lead out. And sometimes you got to get the maroon out. Hence, Starkville and
right.
urinating.
Go Dogs.
All right.
Hail State, Beau.
Barry Pettis.
Hail State.
Wonderful quickfire questions. Again, this segment brought to you by the Tin Society. Now, we've been talking about the Tin Society for the last couple of episodes. It's a great service. Basically, it is hand delivered pipe tobacco to your home front door, at least hand delivered until the drones come, but that's a long way out.
That's right.
Here's the deal. You get some great curated various tobaccos to extend your own palate and maybe even save for a little bit for later as well.
That's
right.
As
you're getting these in. So it's a wonderful way to expand out your own cellar and sample a lot of new tobaccos that are coming into you every single month. And the great thing is with the Tin Society, they've got a special offer exclusive to Country Squire radio listeners. If you use the code Squire, you get 20% off your first month of service, and you get free Missouri Meerschaum pipe.
That's right.
So it's like the best thing ever.
Why would you not do this?
Why haven't you done this yet?
We love the concept of the Tin Society
Mm-hmm.
because these are people that were frustrated with having to buy a whole tin just to try a brand new tobacco. And with the Tin Society, you get a variety of samples each month. Each sample that you get of different tobaccos, you can get at least 3 smokes out of. And so you're getting a lot of tobacco, a lot of samples, and you're not committed to buying an entire tin, which is really great.
Yeah.
And they keep it well curated. It's constantly mixed up. And anyway, so we encourage you to look check them out. You can find them at tinsociety.com. And again, if you use the code Squire when you're checking out, you'll get 20% off that first month's box.
All right, here we go. Listener feedback. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this one comes in from Jim Nelson. Wait, Jim running double duty here. This is the question of the week, and you got an email from him. All right. Normally, I do whenever we get multiples in here. I do like to
try to mix it up.
It up. But you know what? No, let's just roll with it.
No, that's great.
Okay. So Jim says, he said, I listened to the 24th, the June 24th of 2014 episode where the quickfire question was between Dave Matthews and the Beatles. Oh, yes.
We're dredging that up.
Yeah. Given the fact that poor Dave seems to have dropped off the face of the earth, hey, I'm wondering if Beau is ready to report his ill-fated pick of Dave Matthews Band over the Beatles. Musicians compared to breakfast cereals, Beatles equals cornflakes. Dave Matthews, you Kellogg's. You're Kellogg's. I don't know. Some cereal that nobody's ever heard of.
I don't know anything about that.
All right, so Jim Nelson asking me if I still would choose Dave Matthews Band over the Beatles. The answer, of course, is yes, absolutely.
Beau is Beau is unrepentant.
If it's about dropping off the face of the earth, I haven't seen a lot of those Beatles in a couple of years either. So I mean, I'm just saying.
It's because they're all like 75.
And
the ones
dead.
That are left. Wait, isn't Ringo the only one left?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember where all the Beatles went.
Wow.
Oh.
That's pretty good. If like John Lennon circa 1970 met Stewie Griffin, that's what he would sound like. Yeah.
Throw me off with the Stewie Griffin. So no. It was by the way, that was a classic. I guess that is the June 24th of 2014 episode. For those of you who have access to the Country Squire Radio archive,
yeah.
If you've not gone back and listened to that fateful quickfire questions, that's a good one to go back and check out.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Also, we got in some feedback from Eric P. What did Eric have to say?
Eric says, love the podcast. You guys do a fantastic job. Heard about your new sponsor, the Tin Society, but I can't find them online. Sounds like something I'd like to sign up for. What's the best way to sign up? Where can I find a link?
Absolutely.
Eric, it's tinsociety.com. Just tinsociety.com. If you go there, their site is beautiful. It is just really well designed, easy to navigate. We'd love for you to go check them out and great folks over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, for any of the sponsors of the show, if you go to countrysquireradio.com, we've got actually on the page a little grid of all of the different sponsors and direct links to all of their sites and services and all that kind of great stuff. So countrysquireradio.com, and you can find the button there with their very cool little logo. Man, we getting a lot of action
Few,
on Twitter.
yeah, few live feedback option items here. Our friend Hoctor the Love Doctor, he says, I've settled on bulks 1Q, Stokeby Bullseye, Navy Luxury Flake, Newminster 400 for every day, tins of Escudo and Orlick Golden Sliced for aging, having a 10 or 2 a year. So he tends toward the bulks, but puts a few of the other back. Our friend CD C
See
Duomo.
Duomo, yeah.
Man, we love Chris. He says the non-aromatic struggle is real. Do you know how hard it is to find a Virginia Perique in bulk if you're not living in Jackson, Mississippi? And so it is. That whole the bulk. There's just less options in non-aromatics. At Pesky Prussian says every so often check out those little crappy tobacco shops or he says every so often check out those little crappy tobacco shops. They might not have tins, but if they do, they might be excellent. I've found 15-year-old McClellan Virginias stuck on dusty shelves of places simply because pipe smokers just didn't go in there. Our friend Gene Bowker, he asks if there's any updates on the Virginias from last week. Gene, no, we don't have any. 5100 is gone. There's a Red Virginia crisis in America, and we are still wearing sackcloth. But we will keep you posted on that. So
yeah, Russ Hicks sends in a poem, and while it's not fully true, I think it does kind of speak to where the mindset is of a lot of people right now. It says a Red Virginia poem. Ribbons are red, smoke rings are blue. 5100 is gone, McClelland is through. But they're not.
They're not through. They're not through. They it's just gonna be it's gonna be a challenge.
5100 is through. It's gonna be
a challenge.
It's gonna be different.
Man, one thing we failed to mention during announcements tonight.
Oh,
and that is that
breaking news.
Breaking news.
Well,
I feel like we need a.
It doesn't happen enough.
Like Walter Cronkite or something.
Yeah.
Man, we are pleased to announce, and so glad we were able to sneak this in before the show ended. That there will be I actually don't think it's the second annual. I think it's like the third or fourth annual.
Yeah, but it's like the second for Country Squire Radio
for us. The Texas Pipe Show is coming back. That's right, baby. That's right. October 6th at Pop's Safari Room in Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, it's at Pop's again.
It's at Pop's again, man. They just finalized that this week.
Get on, little doggies.
Found out from our good friend Pylorns that was a go. So it's confirmed October 6th. And we are announcing that here tonight on Country Squire Radio. And, we're very excited about that. We really hope if you are free that time of year, it's worth the trip. Man, last year we had folks come literally from 1,000 miles away because they heard of this on Country Squire Radio, and so we got to meet up with friends there. It was just so great. The slow smoke competition and several vendors. It was just a really good time. If you've never been to Texas, it's a good opportunity to go there and see some of the sights. And so anyway, just really exciting. October 6th at Pop Safari Room in Fort Worth.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be keeping our eye on that one, man. Hopefully that the show continues to grow and go.
Yep.
Also, man, I know that we had discussed something before the show. I feel like it's worth mentioning before we sign off. Don't you think?
I'll tell you what, let's do it next week.
You want to do it next week?
Is that okay?
We'll do it next week.
Okay, we'll do it next week.
All right, so that's a tease. Something coming next week. Speaking of what's coming next week, of course, we got the pipe smoking archetype episode coming on the horizon. When we're talking aristocrats and
aristocats.
No, I did it right again.
You did well.
You're determined.
You did really well. I really want you to mess it up.
I appreciate it.
It's more fun that way.
The aristic. I was about to say something. All right, from the top, Mike.
No, I don't think any of that should be deleted.
You want to keep it in?
Yeah,
keep it in, Mike. So sorry. So the aristocrats,
right?
Rich snobbish people. The wealthy and well-to-do
of the feline variety.
No, not the feline variety. No cats were involved in the making of this podcast. But we do want to talk about the aristocrats. As well as the farmer.
Right.
And so from that standpoint, those different kind of pipe smoking archetypes.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts. Send those into the show at countrysquireradio.com. I'll also be posting out on Facebook this week as well as Twitter. And also we love hitting up the Reddit community at our Pipe Tobacco over on Reddit as well. They do a
So
great
many
job
good
over
friends
there.
over at Reddit.
Oh, big time, man. I'm always whenever I don't get to pop over there very much, but I actually I did right after we did our Virginia episode. I jumped on there and I was like, I don't do this all that often. Is you're not supposed to like promote your own stuff, but I thought, well, this is kind of like good news and like good information for the culture.
Right, right.
So might as well get on there and promote it out. And as I was perusing and reading, I was like, man, they've really got an amazing community here. So shout out to the Reddit guys.
It's one of the best on the internet.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they do a fantastic job. But hey, you can keep up with us, by the way, throughout the week. Lots of ways to do it. You can follow us on Twitter, of course. I'm at the real Beau York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at _Country Squire.
And of course, the show's handle is at Squire Radio. You can find all that information and more at countrysquireradio.com, where we broadcast live on Monday nights. You can join us there at countrysquireradio.com on Monday nights at the hours that you know and love. I'm talking about 8:30 p.m. Central, 6:30 Pacific, and 9:30 Eastern. Again, that's available at countrysquireradio.com.
Dude, what a fun show.
Yeah, man.
I had a good time, man.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go sleep.
Are you gonna go to sleep?
I think I'm gonna go sleep.
Someone need a little nap?
I do need a nap.
You want to get a McDonald's?
You
want the Happy Meal? Huh? You want to take your nap?
It only works when I do it. I thought about this the other day, actually. I think we're kind of Stewie and Brian.
Yeah,
like Stewie and Brian.
My Stewie voice is better.
Yeah, but I'm the crazy antic guy who
and I'm the realist.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's go have a night.
See you, brother.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We love y'all so much.
We had a great time. It's always good to see you. Thanks for spending Monday evening with us. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.